Hello, hello, it says we're live. Hi and welcome to this month's masterclass. So while I just faff about for a moment, let you join, check that we're in the right place, check the sound works. I'm looking at 1,001 screens, so let's just give you a second to find where we are, because I know we're not live in the actual event itself. And sometimes that confuses people. Let's get my light on. There we go, light on the situation. And the reason we're not in the event itself is because I'm using some prompts, some slides, something to keep me on track, something to help you follow along. So I just want to make sure that people find out where we are. So I'm doing that annoying thing over on this side, just to make sure that I'm there. As you find me, give me a wave, say hello. Give me some kind of a reaction, because it sends it out to others that will make it easier to join. So I'm just going to put a weird comment. I'm here. So it's super blustery, but it's a nice spring day here in the UK. As you join, tell me where you are. And let's see, I can see your comment. Yes, I can see your comments. So I can see over here that is Jeanette. So hello, Jeanette. And on this other screen, it tells me I've got a Facebook user, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I will be able to try and still stay with you and multi-screen all at the same time. So for anybody who has not joined one of these before, as I do the masterminds, the masterclasses, they are a little bit more in depth. They are like an extended version of the weekly wisdom. I look to leave you better than I find you. That's a phrase that I love to use. I use it when I connect with people. And the purpose of today is to get you thinking about how you use your time and how to squeeze the most out of your time that you can possibly get. So you're going to leave with some very specific methods, some strategies, but also we're going to start with the mindset piece, because honestly, if we started with the strategies and you got into those and you applied them, they would get you some effect. They would have some impact for you, but you might not be able to consistently apply them because you wouldn't have kind of got to that root cause. It's a bit like when we decide to change our lifestyle in some way. Maybe we want to get fit, we want to get healthy, and we push ourselves to do it, but actually we don't get to grips with a full and true motivation. So as soon as it gets tough, we fall off. So we are going to start with that. Let's get the mindset on board, because the mindset is driving always. It's driving all the actions we take. So if we come from that place, we are so much more likely to be able to be consistent and maintain things for longer. So that's where we're going to start. Yay, Aria, you're here too. Fabulous. Right, so that means people are finding us. So that's perfect. So let me now flip onto another screen. You can see the slide, the words. So I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger and me smaller. So I'm still in the corner. I'm going to try if it lets me. There we go. So I'm still here. But you can see that a little bit better. If at any point anything changes, please pop a comment in. If anything goes weird, let me know and I will adjust. Equally, if you have any questions at all, live, replay, it doesn't matter. Pop the questions in. If you've got something that you know has worked for you, let's share that expertise. What I'm going to share with you today is what I do. It's tried and tested by me over not only the recent years in being in my own business, but I was pretty good at time management, as I think women have that default of being pretty good at it. But then this what I've learned more recently has allowed me to take it to another level. So always interested in your methodologies and the way of staying aligned with what you want to achieve too. So please share as well. Okay. So today, let's just recap. What are we actually talking about here? Why should you listen to me? Why should you stay for this session? So we are going to look at how to self-generate motivation on demand. I love that phrase. I was like, yes, that feels like it's fire already. Self-generate motivation on demand. Now, imagine if every day when you get up and you're in that place of, okay, how do I want to spend my time today? It might not be work related. And you could just generate that motivation. Those days of, oh, I just can't get going would just literally disappear. Those moments of, oh, I could just sit, non-existent. So we're going to really, really tap into how you can generate that motivation whenever you want to. We're going to look at how to work smarter, not harder. I am massive into working smarter. I used to be a big delegator. That was part of my role. I was not that slippery shoulder, just hand it off. But I was in a role in my corporate life where things passed down the line and I wasn't supposed to keep anything. But actually, when I passed them down, it always fascinated me as to how people dealt with the work that was given to them, as opposed to how I might have tackled it. And the same is true now. Like, I know that I am required for a core set of activities that I don't want to delegate. I would not want somebody standing up here presenting my content and saying, oh, you know, this is all Sarah's theory. This has to be me. But there are other things that I'm not essential for. So actually understanding what you are critical for and what you're not, and starting to get into that headspace of, there could be one day when I am taking this out of me. That's part of working smarter, but also things like repurposing. We'll get into it, but absolutely squeezing as much as you can out of the work that you are going to do and making it count as well. That's crucial for us. We are going to look at making sure you maintain your momentum for longer. Now, it's interesting because lots of this stuff I talk about in my fitness class. So for those of you who don't know, my other half of my kind of fun job, my hobby job, is that I'm a fitness instructor. I teach body pump 3 times a week, sometimes 5. And part of my job, standing up there in front of that group of people, is maintaining their motivation throughout the whole class. So they might start super pumped, like, yay, we're full of energy, yay, we can do this. And then they get tired and things get harder, their muscles fatigue and their energy levels drop. So actually part of what I do in that role is to help maintain that momentum, help maintain that enthusiasm. But if you can do that for yourself, you will be streets ahead of those people who go, oh, it's getting hard now, I think I'll just. So we're going to really get into that process of how do we build into our ongoing daily basis, not just when things drop or you think, oh, I'm getting fatigued, that you've always got that momentum that you can default to. And then I'm going to make you a promise. And this is not one of those, oh my gosh, what's the promise going to be? It's going to be super, super, super secretive. I'm going to share with you how to really create the biggest impact for your business and your life. Now, I'm going to be really blatant. This is about some details about how you can work with me. I'm going to share something very special that I've got for you up until the end of March. And it is moving you forward into being able to work with me. But I want to be upfront now and say this masterclass is about both giving you value, giving you content to work with, but introducing you in a little bit more detail as to how we might be able to move further forward together and you become a client and work with me, because that's what this is about. I have a business, you have something that you're growing that I could help you with. So I'm going to share that with you. I don't believe in this smoke and mirrors. I don't believe in the secrecy. Oh, you know, wait, and there's a secret at the end. That's what I'm going to share with you. It's going to take about 3 minutes at the end, though. So this is not a big sales pitch wrapped up in a presentation. Promise, promise, promise. Not what I do. Okay, ready to dive in? Everyone happy? Give me a like, give me a thumbs up. I can see them. Fabulous. Okay, so very quickly, and you may know this, you may not. Who knows who's watching this in like 2025, because I never delete anything, by the way. You can look back at my old maths classes. They're all hilarious. I am a mum to these 4. I have 2 gorgeous boys and 2 gorgeous spaniels. And that is my number 1 job in this world, to be mum to all of them. I'm a corporate escapee. I was in corporate for 20 years, lots of different roles, lots of different kind of hats in that corporate space, but all of them dominated by relationship management and absolutely using the relationships both with my internal colleagues and also with clients to make that relationship better, more prosperous. Since 2018, I've been helping results-driven coaches to get seen and get signed using a personality-based visibility strategy. Now, rereading that, I have not done this since 2018. So let's be clear, I, again, transparent all the way. My business has evolved as I have, and very much my story is I knew I could coach when I was in corporate. I had coaching as part of my role, but when I started my business, I didn't know how to get clients. So I helped people with confidence when I started, because that's what I felt was a kind of linchpin to getting people started. Then as my business evolved and I realized that I was learning to get clients, that is what I then ended up helping people with. But when I very, very first started, it was about confidence, and it was about confidence to leave that corporate world. But yeah, since 2018, I've absolutely had my business. Okay, I've got tea today as well. Look, my mug virtually matches my top. So really diving into this detail. Now, we are going to start with something which might feel a little bit, how is this relevant to time management? But honestly, this is your secret weapon. If you get this, the rest becomes the easy part. We all have to have a why. You have to have a why to get up on a morning. And for anyone that's ever suffered from any kind of down days, depression, anxiety, or any of those mental health conditions, you will know that even just getting yourself up and motivated on a morning is a huge, huge hurdle. You don't have to have any of those mental health challenges to still end up feeling like things are tough on some days. I had a horrible day yesterday. I felt like it was one of those days where everything was going wrong. Like I spilt something in the morning. Then when I got to the gym to teach, the batteries weren't working in the headset. And then when I turned it on, it was, just like lots of little things which seemed to just stack up. And I had to go back and do my own practice to say, actually default back to what is my why. Why am I doing this? Why do I love the life that I've created? So when things get challenging, when life throws shit at you, you're going to need to have a reset to go back to say, this is why, this is my why. Now, throughout this month, we've been talking about the building blocks towards this. And I know that I've said, the importance of this is you can't underestimate reconnecting or connecting for the first time with a why that really does get you going. So how do you know when it's big enough? How do you know when it's enough? Well, it's got to be big enough to scare you. And let me tell you, the money is not enough. The money is not the thing that ultimately you desire. And believe me, I get it, that if the money is scarce, it can feel like, well, if I could just make $1,000, £1,000 a month, then that would relieve the financial stress, and therefore that's only a stepping stone. The money will then create something else for you. So you might actually be desiring financial freedom. You might be desiring being able to gift things to your family, to live in a certain way, to create a life, to feel a certain way, because money allows you to do that thing. So your why won't be, oh, I wish I could feel like, no, when I'm this, I'll feel more confident. So that what will that confidence give you? So stay away from the financials, because this is the ultimate big. This is let's think about the legacy you're wanting to leave. So when you're no more, what's that thing that you want people to go, oh yeah, I remember, you're that person who. And it should also be totally yours. Now, the reason I put this in here is because I see this a lot, that we look up to somebody, someone is an inspiration to us for whatever reason, in whatever field of our lives, business, personal, whatever. And we can tend to end up borrowing their whys. Oh, it's amazing what they do, because look at the charity work they do, or look at the impact that person's having on X, Y, and Z. And we end up almost unconsciously adopting their why, when actually it doesn't need to be the same for you. So think about it being totally, totally yours. And again, I share this a lot. I don't have a desire to live in a mansion or to live the nomadic laptop lifestyle and work on the beach. That just does not appeal to me. I love my home, and I love being in my home, walking my dogs and being able to pick my children up from school. That to me is what success looks like. So that is for me what that legacy feels like. Well, I want my children to say when they're older, oh, do you remember mum was always there, without a doubt, day after day she was there at the gate and we were able to chat to her about our day. Or yeah, mum was that one who used to be able to come on the trips with us, and she'd be able to be the helper on those days out we'd do. That to me, it's creating that memory for them, as well as, yeah, I want to be able to give us those experiences, go on those trips, be away every now and again. But that's very much me. It's about my home environment and making that my own. So what's your why? Share with me, because I don't think anybody shared last time. I think you were all a bit too shy about, well, what's your why? Share your why in the chat, and let's be inspired by one another's, because it's amazing to see what people are actually aiming for. And, you know, is it big enough to scare you? Is it big enough to make you go, I don't type it in because it feels silly? That's almost certainly where you should be aiming, because that's the stuff that should create that, I feel even silly typing it, you know, by being able to pay off my mortgage by the time I'd be mortgage free by the time I'm 50. I remember watching somebody do that at work because they were so singly focused, and they had all sorts of other things, the way they were investing the money, and they were going to be totally mortgage free. And I was like, that's unfeasible. That's just ridiculous. Can't think of anything like that. But, you know, it's those types of specific, but they're big and they feel really unbelievable. That's where you want to be aiming your whys. So your huge why, that is your step one. Your next step, 80 million screens to change the slides. Here we go. We then need to tether some emotion to it. And this is the piece which leads on from, it's got to be yours. There's no point in me lending you mine. There's no point in me saying, well, why don't you create a why that does this? Because that's just me projecting mine probably onto you. You have to have that emotional connection to it for it to be able to fire that thing in you, that spark, that, oh, and you know that how close excitement and scared is. They are like tiny, tiny degrees separate. So by being able to tether an emotion, that's where we start to generate that true reaction. Someone check, let's see. Jeanette, I've always wanted to work for myself, want to do something I love on my terms, can't bear the thought of ever working for someone else or organisation again. Yeah, okay. So that's the means to. So that's the how you're going to achieve. No dreams to work in a mansion or live a nomadic lifestyle. No. Perfectly happy at home. Fabulous. So does that why then maybe centre around the home? You know, is there something that, is there a different home that you can picture? Is there something you'd like to do to your existing home? Is there a level of financial freedom, like I say, coming out of your mortgage, knowing you own it? You know, there's something big around that. So you can go deeper with that, Jeanette. But yeah, love it. Yeah, mansions I think are overrated. I like cozy as well. The mansions are all drafty and old, and you have to have fires. And no, definitely not. Aria, free people from the pain of their trauma and empower them to change their world and the world. Love it, love it. Now, the only thing I'm going to say with that, Aria, is that feels like the achievement that you're going to help them to transform or to activate in themselves, whereas this why for you should be yours. So how, when you've done that, how will that make you feel? Because that's coming into this emotional piece. What will that mean to you? What will that enable for you? How will that be different than being able to do that by working for somebody else? So you could be with your specific example, you could probably be a therapist or somebody who worked for another organisation and allow people to come and have that conversation. So in theory, you were achieving that why, but it's still not going to be enough for you. So this has to be about it being for you. So Jeanette, financial freedom, certainly, yes. So understanding, what does that financial freedom mean? Because we say, oh, that means that, you know, I'd love financial freedom. Well, what does that mean for you? Does that mean being able to say yes to a brand new car, or does that mean being able to just not worry about the energy prices or the monthly groceries? It's different for every single person. So financial freedom is a great phrase and brilliant to have associated to that, but let's think about, well, actually, what does financial freedom mean to you? So as you work through these, we're then going to look at the number 2 then. So how will you feel when this is done? And also, how will you know when it's done? yours is really difficult to measure because you're talking about that sense, that sensation of you've healed someone, you've helped them. But actually the sense of having been able to tick it off and go, yes, I'm there, is much harder. So how will you know? And then how will you feel when it's done? So let's take, I'm going to stick with the mortgage as the example. So when I finally make that last payment to the mortgage lender and say, there we go. And I think they hand, I've never done it obviously, but like when you sell a house, they hand over the deeds and all the documents and they go, here you go, that's now probably going to somebody else. But that is just going to feel like, I can't begin to imagine. It makes me tingly with excitement of, wow, I've not only done it, I've set myself a goal that I've achieved. I now have financial security, not just for me, but for the children, and down. Now, sometimes this can be really hard because, like my example, I've never paid off a mortgage before unless I've been selling that house to buy another one. So we to be able to find the connection to that emotion, what is the closest you've ever felt to that? So there might be another situation where you can go, oh wow, that's given me a little, like an insight into how that might feel. And it might be something on a much smaller scale, but you just get a little, just a nugget of that, oh, I see how that would feel. So then we can allow those emotions to start to take shape, and you're then multiplying them however many times over. So I bought a car for the first time outright a while ago, rather than taking it on finance or having a company car, which I used to do. And I can see that having that as my own would be a smaller version of the mortgage because it was mine. I was handing over the money. I was going, oh my gosh, wow, you know, I bought it, but a much smaller financial scale. I can see how that was similar. So can you see how you're really trying to dig into how is this going to feel and multiplying it? So then you allow the emotions and the thoughts that you'll have about that situation to really take shape. And this is where, by the way, we should be getting into a tizzy about it. We should be going, oh my God, it's going to feel amazing. Oh, I won't be able to stop myself celebrating, or, oh. And by the way, it's okay not to have all the answers right now. So don't, for a minute at this point, start going, oh yeah, but, because the minute that oh yeah, but voice comes in, that's where we start to get in our own way. So this is not about that. This should be fun. This is about saying, yeah, actually, financial freedom for me is not having a mortgage, not worrying about the bills, being able to holiday when I like, or whatever that looks and feels like. And I can imagine how that feels because there was this time in my life when X, Y, Z, and I got a little bit of an inkling. Just have fun with it. Just explore it. Okay, so number 3. Then we start to divide and conquer. So you've got your big, huge goal and you've added a few little details to it. So you're really clear. You're also emotionally connected to it. This is where we start to get into a little bit more of the practicalities. Now, this image couldn't have been more perfect. When I stuck it into the Google search and found it, I was like, yes, perfect. We have to trust that the next set of actions, and ultimately the actions we're going to need to take, will take shape. The other image that I would have used is there's a cartoon, they probably use it fairly frequently, where the cartoon character is stepping, they're walking in the clouds, and they're either stepping up or they're stepping down, doesn't matter. Let's say we're stepping up. But actually the clouds form the shapes as they step, but they're stepping like they know it's going to be there. That's what we have to be. That's how we have to feel about the route we're going to take ourselves down to get to that big goal. So as we stand on, is that a river? I'm going to say it's a river on the image. We stand on this side of that river. We can really clearly see those first probably 10 of the shapes of the stepping stones. But the ones that are right far across, I don't know whether you can see my mouse, the ones that are right on the other side of that bank, we can't make out their shape. It looks almost like it's a continuous piece of solid log, doesn't it? It's not. They're individual steps too. But that is our big goal on the other side of that piece of water. Here, at the first step, that's where we need to start looking at what actions we can take here and now. And the way that we do that is we look at our huge big goal and we go, okay, if that is the huge big goal that I'm aiming for, what are all the things that I can think of right now that I need to do to get to that big goal? What are they? Just get them all down in a huge, great big mess on a piece of paper if it needs it. List them all out. Well, I probably need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. This is not the how, this is not getting into the, oh yeah, but I don't know that. This is just, and you're going to end up with some really weird and wacky things. So I might say, right, well, I'm going to need to get to 150,000 in the next 3 months. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Right, well, I might decide to do some Facebook ads. I'm going to need to book some more sales calls. I might need to up the hours my VA does. I'm going to need to refinance X, Y, Z. I might need to this. And the actions are just going to be really, really haphazard. And then you're going to start to see that they clearly have like the big actions that you don't know where to start, like you wouldn't even know where to begin. And then there's going to be some actions that come out of your mind that you go, and I do actually know how to do that, because we are fundamentally solution-based beings. We are. But the thing that we always do to ourselves is we just put the barriers up before we see the solution. So we end up concentrating on the barrier and the problem for longer than we concentrate on the solution. It's mad. I don't know why our brains are wired that way, but it's true. It'll be to do with keeping us safe and staying what's familiar, and actually if that's a barrier and we see it, we don't want to get over it. But instead of that, we're not going to look at the problem. We're not going to look at the, oh yeah, but I don't know how to do that. Because if that's true, so say you're mapping all of these actions onto your stepping stones. By the way, tell me if this is making any sense whatsoever, because you haven't said anything for a while. Imagine that you put all of those actions on those stepping stones. So you allocate them. The ones that maybe you come up with that are really weird and wacky and you have no idea how you'd even begin to do that, they're going on the stepping stones like way further down the line. The ones that you go, okay, so to be able to make X, Y, and Z impact, I'm going to need to reach more clients. Those go on the stepping stones that are closer, because you've already formulated part of that solution in your head anyway. You're just going to need to go to another level. Are you with me? Do you understand how to translate your big, huge goal into manageable chunks to be able to see the path ahead of you a little way? Because to get this concept and to be able to start working with this is huge. It's honestly, this is the way that I've transformed being able to sit down and say, this is what makes a difference in my business, versus the actions which honestly were faffing. They were just wasting time. They felt quite good to do, and it felt good to tick them off on the to-do list, but they were making no difference to the bottom line of my business. It was when I started to take this approach to how and where I spent my time, everything changed. Everything changed. And the way that I felt about my business and what I was achieving also changed, because I knew that what I was doing on a day-to-day basis was always moving me towards my goal. Always, always, always. Are you with me? Do you understand? Please, someone say, yes, I get it, Sarah. Are you writing? Are you like scribbling notes frantically? So let's make sure I've said everything on here. So your big, huge goal, that's got to be crystal clear. You've got to get in a tizzy emotionally about that, like so emotionally connected to it. Then you just get down everything that needs to happen from there. And then from there, what actions you can take. If you want to do that as three levels, then break it down again. So, okay, so here's my huge, great, big. And from there, I can think of maybe 10 things, and then take those 10 things and spin off from there, because they then become your actions. Okay, Ari, you've got your new, so this is your big. Free people from pain of their trauma and empower them to change their world and their world. No, I've read that already. Oh, where's my comments gone? That's gone weird. I've read that already. I'm sure I have. I'm just going to refresh that because I'm sure I saw a comment going on. Yes. Very nice. Go. Good. You're here. You are here. So it's coming in reverse order on one side of my screen, and then it's going in this order on that side. That's why. Okay. So if you're comfortable with that, dividing and conquering, let's go on to the next stage, because this is now where we start to kind of bring it all together, wrap our arms around it and go, right, how does this, we were supposed to be talking about time management and momentum and things like that. So here's where. Time with intention. Now, time with intention is a phrase that I have used frequently, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to I'm gonna take the credit for it. And where it came from originally was that in physical training, in body pump, we use the phrase for time under tension, because that's how the principle of that program works the muscles. We muscles under tension for a certain period of time, which then trains them, strengthens them, etc. But actually, I don't want, in a business sense or a life sense, I don't want you to spend time under tension. Never. Like, quite the opposite. I want you to spend time with intention, because it is the most precious thing. That's why you get phrases like spending time. I'm spending time, because you spend it and you won't always get it back. However, if you spend your time with intention, it's totally different. So here's where we then look at our actions and make sure that they align with our goals. Because honestly, if you are filling your day with fluff and faff and stuff that might feel fun, it might feel like you're progressing, but it is not aligning you to the ultimate goal that you are aiming for, whatever that goal is, by the way, you are honestly wasting your time. And I don't ever like giving those harsh messages, but it's true. And I want to save you the time that I spent faffing around, months and hours. Oh my gosh, hours and hours and hours. And I would leave this room having done 3 things on Canva, twiddled with a logo, done a couple of more pages on a course that nobody ever bought, and. But I had never done any of the actions which moved me somewhere towards my goal, because I'd never written a goal. I'd never written my big, well, why am I even doing this? I'd started at the bottom and I was faffing about in the weeds, doing all of these things, just kind of head down, blinkered, not seeing the bigger picture at all. So by spending your time on the actions that really do make a difference, that is where you can start to shift this. Now, it won't come overnight, by the way, because you will still get sucked back, because your beautiful subconscious says, oh, but you could just do your emails or your messages, or you could go and do some research, or whatever it is that pops up as your distractor is going to pull you back, because that's what you're used to. And for anyone like me who came from the 9-to-5 mentality, that's kind of what we were trained to do. You know, be reactive, don't do the big stuff, do the kind of in the weeds stuff. And to-do lists, they all come from that very much the hand to mouth, job comes in, do job, move on. That's where that comes from. But you're in a different world now. You get to master this yourself. So awareness is the first thing. How do you structure your week? What does it look like? What does your day, your work time that you allocate, how do you use that? Do you sit and go, oh, how do I feel? What shall I do now? Or do you say, okay, where am I with my goal? What else do I need to do towards it? So become aware of how you're spending your time. And that, by the way, for some, is literally a time and motion study. I've got clients who I've given the challenge to for a full week to document their time, because they were in a perpetual loop of, yeah, but I don't have time to do those things you're saying for me to do, Sarah, or yeah, but I don't have time to get to that, or I ran out of time, or it was always about time. So I got them to document a full week of their activities. And what an eye-opener. It's the equivalent of documenting everything you eat, because it makes you look at it and it makes you go, okay, that's interesting. And it makes us so much more aware. So if that's what you need to do first, you know, do it. On the iPhone now, if you ever look at the analysis, it's got a fabulous little app that shows you what you're spending your time on your phone. Have you ever looked at that? Have you ever taken a view on that? I'm not saying, oh my gosh, you need to beat yourself up about how you're spending your time, or don't ever sit in front of the telly. I'm not saying that for a minute. Gosh, I'm really not. But become aware of where your time is going. Because if you don't know where your time is going, you're not going to be able to shift yourself into a more conscious state of managing it better. Your big wire. Oh, big wire? No, big why. Empowered, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, be of service. Yes, love it. Much better, much better. That's yours. That feels, I can feel that's coming from you and your heart. So yeah, really like that, really like that. Okay, so be aware. First step, be aware of how you're spending your time, and then you're going to be able to master it so much more easily. And by the way, this is really key. Don't judge yourself. So when that thing comes up every week, mine does on my phone, that says your average time on your phone is, so at one point, probably about a year ago, it was 5 hours a day. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's 5 hours a day. It's now under 2 hours because I use my phone strategically. And that was just, I didn't go, oh my God, you know, where's that 5 hours going? But I realized that I was both repeating myself and just spending too long on things, all sorts. So be aware. As I say, that tool on your phone is great, but if you can just be conscious of, well, you know, I allocate an hour a day to walk my dogs. I allocate an hour a day to exercise. I allocate multiple hours a day to be with the children and to cook and to eat and to play football with them and do all of those things. So be aware of where your time is going. Then you're going to be able to master it. Happy with the time concept? What do you like, actually? Make a judgment. Give yourself a mark out of 10. How do you feel you are with your time at the moment? Are you pretty on it? Like, if we observed you, have you ever seen those people do those, like, fast forward where they film themselves for a while? If we filmed you for a day, right, what would we see? Are you on it? Are you and in the flow type, like you just kind of move from one thing to the other when you're ready? You know, what do you like? How do you position yourself now in terms of your time? It's good to just kind of get that gauge. And if that's not where you want it to be, then where do you want to move it to? So if you think, oh God, I'm just constantly wasting time on this, that, and the other, and I'm only a 3, and actually I want to be a 7, there you go. You've got to get there, haven't you? So yeah, what are you giving yourself out of 10? I'm going to give myself right now, I'm going to give myself a 7 because I'm pretty good, but I still want to get better because I want time that I get to choose what I do. I don't want everything always allocated in my days. I hope I'm not losing my voice. I've got a governor meeting this afternoon to chair, which will be interesting. I've got no voice. It's a short meeting, won't it? Okay, are you ready for the secret weapon? This is so epic. Time blocking. Has anyone come across time blocking? Or I think it's called stacking sometimes, time stacking. If you've come across this and used it effectively, tell me. And it'd be interesting to see whether or not the methodology approach is the same. But this is life-changing, not just business. Now, this is honestly, I can't believe I got to this point in my, or from when I introduced it. And then when, oh, yeah, I get it now. And it's so easy. It really is so easy. As with everything, there's just a couple of tweaks to get you into the flow of it at first. But then it feels like the most natural way to operate yourself. Right, hang on. I'm watching comments on different orders. Yes, trying it out this week. Okay, so you have heard it, brilliant. Can we really focus and manage time well? I'm easily distracted by YouTube. Okay, there you go. So where do you watch YouTube? Can you remove the app off wherever it is you watch it? Can you put a timer on? Can you be more intentional with your time? Say, right, I'm going to XYZ on YouTube. Like, it's a resource. I've just told my oldest to go and YouTube something to find out what he needs to do. So it's useful. Yes, found it very helpful. Okay, all right. So let's break this down into real specifics so you can apply this for you. First, okay, no, let me tell you the principle. So in principle, we block out the time that we're going to spend on all our big tasks. Now, remember, those big tasks are not the big tasks that you wake up that day and go, what shall I do today? Those big tasks going way back up this are from, if I can find this again, it's these. It's the third step. It's the, I've got my why, I've tethered my emotions to it. Now I've divided and conquered and got this whole massive page full of the actions that I need to take. Those are the actions that we're going to put in first into your time blocks. So you list all your to-dos. So those are formed mainly by the actions of your list, but you're going to have other stuff. Like, this should genuinely be all of them. This is walking the dog. This is cleaning the kitchen floor. This is doing the online shop. This is taking time out for yourself. This is going on date night. This is socializing with your friends, visiting your mom, mowing the lawn. All the stuff in your life, we have to be clear that it needs time allocating. And you should know how long-ish that it takes. Now, some of this stuff you always don't, and I found when I first introduced this, I used to overestimate and underestimate, probably in about equal measure. But by having a concept of, okay, so it takes me this long to do that thing, which means I can maybe double it up with something else. So list all your to-dos, because if you miss out cooking, eating, TV, showers, then you're not going to be able to make this work, because you'll start going, oh yeah, but I need to do that thing because I didn't put it in, therefore I'll steal a bit of time from there. This won't work, because as soon as you start compromising with yourself, you'll compromise on the big tasks as well. So get them all down. Then you estimate how long they're going to take. 50. I like 15 minutes blocks. I love 15-minute blocks. So if I could live my entire life in 15 minutes, that would work for me really well. So I know that that one thing takes 2 blocks of 15. There's half an hour of my time. I know that that one's going to be a 4 block of 15 because it's an hour-long coaching session, whatever it is. So allocate them as best you can, time that you believe it's going to take. Now, if you don't know, it's a case of, right, well, I'm going to allow then, and then you might also want like an overhang time. So if you're looking at your big actions and you're maybe learning a new skill and you're going to allocate yourself for a time, don't allocate it 2 solid hours, because not many of us can concentrate on something super hard for 2 hours. Allocate it 45 minutes, and then on another day allocate it another 45 minutes. If you still need more, then we're going to build in buffers in this process. So you've then got, and I like this visual, don't get too hung up on the visual, it was just to represent the principle of it. So you've got all your to-dos listed, and I love colour coding, that's how I do mine. Allocate them then a time slot in your week. So you will have decided pretty much up front, I work between these hours and these hours, and then you drop that block into that time slot. So you say, right, so for me, I'll give you an example. Every morning between 9 and 9:30 is exercise time for me, totally for me. So I might run, I might walk, I might do some weights, or I might end up teaching a class. Then after that, it's an hour allocated to the dogs, because immediately as I walk in the door, they want to walk. So that's now taken me to 10:30. I can then sit down if I want to and start to do some study or make myself available for calls. So then my day starts building up in those blocks. The most amazing thing is that when you've put your blocks in, you become so much more relaxed about the other stuff. So I check my emails and messages once a day. I don't let them distract me in the day, because honestly, if something was on fire and it was that urgent, someone would ring me. So I don't check them all the time. It's very tempting, don't get me wrong, when you get the little notification. But this is something that I used to do years ago in corporate. I used to turn off all the notifications, because somebody sending me a random thing that they've copied me into is not important enough to distract my train of thought from something else that I'm doing. So I know that when those notifications stack up, that I've already got 45 minutes at a certain time in the afternoon when I'm going to get to all of them together, and I'll deal with it and it'll be done and I can move on. So that it stops distracting me from those big pieces. So the last point I've made there is the rocks, the pebbles, the sand and the water. Are you aware of that concept of the dish, the bowl, where you put things in, you put the big rocks in first and say, oh, is it full? Yeah, it's full. Well, no, it's not, because then we put the pebbles in. Is it full? Yes, it's full. No, it's not, because then we can put some sand in, and then we can even get some water in the top. That's the principle to follow when you're allocating your time. So your rocks are always, and going back to the book that I'm reading, or read, Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog, your rocks are your frogs. Your rocks are your big actions. They're the stuff that are going to move you forward. And I'm going to help you come up with some prioritization in a second for those. But they're your biggies. They're the ones where you just need to kind of sit down and get it done and not be distracted. They're the things where you're going to think. They're the things where you just need a bit of peace and quiet to work through. Those go in first. You don't need them until the end of the day and then hope you can squish them in first. Then you put your pebbles in, which are maybe more frequent but need doing every day type actions. Then you sand, and then you squish the water bits in, which are the lower priority, but you fit them in between the gaps. So they might be posting on social media because it's quick, or they might be commenting on things, they might be engaging, they might be whatever with your things, washing the kitchen floor, the stuff that you would kind of squish in. Happy with that, happy with the time blocking principle, because again, life-changing, not just for work. This is about creating time in your day. And the example that I gave was the first few days I really got back into doing this and focused, super concentrated, spent about 2 hours on the Sunday planning all this out. And the first time you do it, I'm not going to lie, it takes a little bit of a planning process. There's a bit of trial and error. Did that all on the Sunday. Got my clear plan on the for the following week, and on the Monday I started it like real keen. Yeah, get onto this. I looked at the clock at 13:04, totally seeing it as 3:04, and I needed to go and get the children any minute. I'd created 2 additional hours, so I kind of, oh wow, I've got time to do this now. I could add that thing in, or I could bring another block that was on another day and bring it forward, or do nothing. Totally different way of approaching this. Happy with the time blocking? Trying it out this week. Who said that? How's it gone, Jeanette? How have you found it? Because I know you've been like on it and focused. And is this working for you? I hope so. Tell us if you are happy to share. Okay, change slides again, another screen. Right, this is, I guess, the final layer to the time blocking. Daily MITs, most important tasks. These are your frogs. So when you're looking at that to-do list, you should have your priority ones, your P1s, and your P2s. And I'll put that quadrant in there because, again, that's something that I did used to use, and it has been useful over the years, but honestly, it was like too many things. And there was at one point when I used to have a to-do list with them all categorized in funky colors, and I would just never get to the not urgent, not important ones. But I guess that's the point, isn't it? That if you allocate somebody one of your tasks as being a not urgent, not important, then like, why is it even on your list? Because you're not going to get to it, are you? It's good. It works better than a tick list. Yes, and I've got another alternative for you, Jeanette, than a tick list, which is even better. Okay, so your priority ones then. So just simply having 2 categories, much easier to look at how you allocate your priorities and what becomes a rock. Priority 1 in your business. This is only business, and actually priority 1s are probably things like family and eating and the other things as well. But in your business, they should be revenue generating. What does that mean? It should somehow be able to lead to revenue coming into your business, because without that, you've got a hobby, which will become expensive in the long run, either in time or money. It should be client serving. Your clients are a priority 1. They are there at the end of the day to get the transformation, the result that you're going to help them get. So if you're not making them priority 1, they're not getting the results, so you end up back at that kind of perpetual downward spiral. These are the things that cannot be delegated. So like I said at the beginning, there are certain things that you should be viewing as, I'm doing this for now, I'm doing this to perfect it, I'm doing it to be able to understand what my system is, finding my voice, whatever it is, and then I will move to delegate it. And that's okay. But ultimately, your priority ones has to be the things that you cannot delegate. It just has to be you. Self, your priority 1 has to be you. If you are your business, what happens when you go down? You get overwhelmed, you go to that point of, oh, I just can't do it anymore, and you throw all your toys out and it just feels icky again. If you're not prioritizing yourself, that will happen. Ultimately, one way or another, it will manifest itself that it will happen. And then as you would expect from me, I would also say that one of your priority ones is being seen, because if you're not being seen, people don't know you've got that amazing talent to share with the world. So by being seen in whatever way, again, no templates, no one way, finding your way of being seen should be up there every day. Not, oh, it's got to the end of the day and now I look a bit of a mess and all my hair's been windswept on the walk and I'll do that tomorrow. No, priority 1. Your priority 2s are things like learning, Jeanette. Admin will sap the life out of you, like house admin for your business, whatever it ends up being. I joked to my boys the other day that the amount of admin that I do for them and for the house kind of collectively is huge, isn't it? It's never ending. But it is a priority 2. Obviously, you've got to pay your bills and make sure all that's arranged. But again, it's time with intention. Do things that enable you to allow things just to run on autopilot so you don't have to interact all the time. Direct debit, that's what they're all for, right? So learning, research, again, it is a priority 2, unless it forms part of that revenue generating, which actually is unlikely to. Course creation, or any kind of, oh, well, I'm building this beautiful thing, and then when that's beautifully created and perfected, I'm going to move on to create this perfect thing. Yes, but if you haven't done the priority ones first, no one's going to see it. Nobody. promise, I've done it. And then planning. Planning is crucial, absolutely crucial. But again, I've put in one of my rocks now as being planning, so that it ends up being a normal part of my weekly routine that says, okay, so that works really well. How can I refine that and plan next week to learn from this week's experiences? Your most important tasks should be 5 every day. Now, sometimes they're carryovers for me, so I might have allocated 5 to today. They should be the first 5 that I do, but for whatever reason, if one ends up falling down the list or the person wasn't available I needed to speak to, then I can carry it over. But principally, there should be 5 new important tasks every single day. That helps to keep it refreshed as well. That helps to keep you active and motivated. And the more you're motivated, the more you're ready to do those most important tasks. And honestly, the smug sense of, oh, I've got this, just feels amazing every time you do this. So priority 1s, priority 2s, does that help, Jeanette, with perhaps some of the distraction piece? Because again, it's about the awareness. It's about saying, okay, so why am I here? What purpose does it serve? Is it a priority 1, priority 2? Have I already done the priority 1s? You know, sometimes they can feel like a reward. I talked about cleaning. I love cleaning. I know it's weird, not to the nth degree, but by being able to say, well, when I've done X, I'm going to be able to do Y, that motivates me to get the other thing done so that I can then do the cleaning. It's weird, I know, it's very weird. Okay, done board. This is the final piece of your motivational and momentum jigsaw piece. Now, this is fairly new to me. I've been using a done board now for about 6 months. Never heard of it before, never heard of it. I've always been one for a to-do list. A to-do list to the point of doing a thing and then adding it on afterwards. Yeah, I think we can all admit to that, can't we? Oh, that was really useful. I'll put it on the to-do list and tick it off straight away. A done board is the total opposite way round. So imagine that you've got, at the beginning of every week, you've now got a blank board, but you've got particular categories at the top of your board. So you can literally create it in a grid. I use an electronic one. I've seen people use literally like whiteboards or pieces of paper, whatever is going to work for you. But the idea of it is that you put on it what you have done. So that whole motivation of putting something on a to-do list to tick it off really gets fired by this. Now, defining your categories, which go across the top, and then your days go down the bottom. So Monday to Sunday, your categories are your big rocks. So they might be get visible, serve clients, meet with XYZ people and network. They might be spend time with the family. They might be whatever your big activities. Then you get them from your to-do list. So, okay, how can I categorize them? Normally about 5. Imagine you've got that 5 across the top. And then when you've done the thing, you put it on your done board. So at the end of the day, you should have something in every one of your categories because they're probably daily activities. So things like your most important tasks are going to go somewhere to be recorded in that. And you then get the amazing self-satisfaction of looking at that done board at the end of every day or week going, wow, I can't believe what I've managed to get done. And honestly, I've sat at times going, oh, I'm so close to getting this thing finished. Oh, my time's nearly run out, but I'm going to push it because if I haven't finished it, I can't put it on my done board. And I really want to just get it finished. And I've only got 5 minutes and, oh, I'll get that thing finished. And then, yes, and put it on the done board. Oh, yeah. By allowing yourself to constantly look at that and remind yourself of your why. So those categories should match back to your why. And then agree with yourself or your family or somebody what celebration you're going to give yourself, what reward. And it might just simply be, great, I get to have movie night and popcorn and put my feet up and do nothing all Friday evening. Or it might be, well, when I've completed all my done board and I feel amazing about it, then I'm going to go and take myself off for the afternoon and go and have my nails done. Or whatever it is that's going to feel great for you. But allow yourself to celebrate when you do, because it's no good just going, oh, brilliant, I'm great, on to the next week. That's the whole point of the motivation of saying, yes, I get to celebrate. I get to recognise what I'm doing, and that then creates the desire to do it again. So rather than us living with to-do lists, because to-do lists are only going to be needed if you're not allocating time. If you're allocating time to your activities, you don't need a to-do list. You just simply don't. Whereas this way, we get to get the satisfaction of ticking things off without needing the to-do list. Make sense? Any questions? Do you love the done board? I do. I really love it. And I'll pop a template in so you can see what a blank one would look like. I'll pop that into the group as well. Okay. Any questions? No questions on the done board. It's great. I do love it. And some weeks I'm better than others at putting things on there. But I know when I do, the next week will be better. It's more where I've had like a broken week of doing bits of work and then not. That's when it ends up being a little bit more messy. Can you hear my dog? That's because he thinks he needs to be fed. He's so demanding. I let him off because he's really old. But he's demanding food and the children might feed him because it's too early. Okay, did I click that or did that just move on its own? So you click it. Okay, so look, 4 minutes till the top of the hour. I told you this wouldn't be a big, massive sales pitch, but I just want to spend some time telling you about Camilla. So Camilla, I mentioned her before. She, when we first connected, she was in that real busyness state. She was very much in a place of, I need to do all the things. I need to be in all the places. And she really was spreading herself super thin and it wasn't working for her. So in the process of being able to redefine how we worked her time and allocated those big important tasks and realigned, she started to fall back in love with her business. And by being able to recreate how she wanted to work and repeat it meant that every time she was showing up, she was so much more energized in what she was doing. So that screenshot is a conversation we had in Voxer, which is the walkie-talkie app that I use to supply my clients. So she was celebrating the fact that she got 6 people in her first launch of her program. Now, they were 6 people in her group program. On top of that, she also managed to bring in some one-to-one people who the group program wasn't right for. So she'd gone from hopeless, like really, really not enjoying her business. And it wasn't through lack of trying, as she said in here. She paid vast sums of money. But everything she was doing just felt really, really out of alignment. And she brought that in. Now, the way that I supported Camilla was effectively through the Seen and Signed Academy. So let me just really quickly give you a super quick overview of that. So the Seen and Signed Academy is a 4-month one-to-one coaching program. It is designed to get you really, really clear on how you're going to show up. It's going to give you all the support and resources to be able to design and plan your visibility strategy. Like, I can't stress this enough. Nobody leaves the process of working with me with a carbon copy of somebody else's strategy. Yes, there's overlaps because there are a number of ways that we know people like to show up, but it will be yours and it will be based on your personality, your client desires, and the way that you want to run your business. It absolutely can help you remove the frustration and the time it can take to perfect the way you want to attract your clients. I spend so long trying and testing and failing and trying and testing and failing, and it gets frustrating. And when you get frustrated, you get into that needy, you get into that lack, you get into that nothing's going to work, and you can end up in that rut of stuck really, really easily. What I want for you is to be able to shine your light at its brightest and do it the quick way, like not waste any time, not wasting time, not being able to reach those people whose lives you want to impact. Until the end of March, I have got 2 additional bonuses to add to all the massive content in the Academy. You are going to get a personalized Facebook profile optimization recording, which means I'm going to go all over your Facebook page and I'm going to record in detail some thoughts and recommendations, just loads and loads of feedback as to how you can really make that your landing page. Because if you're using social media as part of your visibility strategy, even if you're not, people will go to your Facebook profile and they will check you out. So you can be using it as a really, really effective part of that funneling process and using it as a landing page. So I'm going to personally review that for you and make some recommendations. The second bonus you're going to get, because it ties in so beautifully with this, is an additional 1 to 1 hour focused solely on time management for you, for your own self. So this is not the off the shelf, here's how you could. This is about having a two-way conversation about, okay, so what do you feel is the block for you? Where do you feel like you're leaking time? So very, very centered around you. Now, the Seen and Signed Academy has been as it is for a little while, and in April there's going to be a whole load additional content. So anyone joining now will get the benefit of that. However, the price is going to increase and the program is going to lengthen as well. So rather than it being 4 months, it's going to be 6, and it will have the additional content in as well. So if it feels like it's right for you now, or it's close to right for you now, I would love, love, love to have that conversation with you. It's really easy. Once we look at, and I use this STAR acronym, the strategies, the actions will get you the results. But when we add the personalized mindset to that, through one-to-one work that we'll do, that's where you really can skyrocket the results. It's self-paced, so you won't get that constant, oh, I've got it. You will be held accountable, but you won't be pushed beyond what's comfortable. You need to embed the learning as you go and take the actionable steps. Very, very simple. Once you sign up, you get a huge welcome pack, which gives you all the information you need. We get connected on Voxer. You get access immediately to a huge vault of training content, which is mini videos and worksheets, and you make a start when you're ready. You are totally in control. I will not chase you for one-to-ones. You book them when it is right for you, but you get 8 during that 4-month period. I will be in your pocket, or I'll be at arm's length throughout that time. So what do you do now? Really easy. I'm going to drop the link into this page when we're finished. Take a look. The bonuses are locked in. The website doesn't mention that, but the bonuses are there. Have a look. If you've still got any questions, drop me a message, book a call. Like, I'm not, anyone that's been connected with me for a time knows that I'm not somebody who bullies, hassles, pressures at all. I want clients to work with me that are ready. I want them to be excited to come to me and get the best results. Anything that feels like pressure is going to end up with a resentment, and I absolutely do not want that. So if you'd still like to talk it through, if you're thinking, yeah, it sounds amazing, but maybe not now, then fine, let's talk about it. So you can do that through the link that I'm going to, as soon as we're finished, drop into the group. So those bonuses are available until the end of March, as I say. The price is locked until the end of March, and then beginning of April, they will go up. Any final questions on anything at all that we have been through today? Any thoughts? Any final comments? Found it helpful? Fabulous. Good to hear. I think that was a while ago. Yeah, any other questions? If not, 3 minutes over. I will let you go and get on with the rest of your day. I'll go and drop that link in, and I'll do an example done board just so you can see what one looks like. And I'll see you next week. Next week we are doing the final one in this sort of set. Do I even have it? No, I don't have it open. I'll create the event soon. Fabulous. I'm glad it was helpful. Oh no, I've closed too many things down now. I don't know where I am. Oh, there we go. Great content, helpful, brilliant, helpful, practical, useful. Good job, brilliant. I'm pleased, Jeanette. Thank you so much for joining me. Anything that comes up, as I say, if you want to chat about the Academy, then let's do that. Go and have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. I'm going to rest my voice before my governor meeting this afternoon. Have a good one. See you soon. Bye.